A man exhales smoke as he deals cards to a circle of gamblers seated around a table. Each card flashing over a reflective surface to reveal its number and suit. Another gambler chews a cigar, eyes wide as he recognizes the cheat, and his hand drifts under the table. A press of a button drops the lights, and the film, already grainy and marked with scratches, darkens until the figures are barely visible. Smoke and muzzle flashes as shots are fired. Underneath it all, musicians Clifton Davis and Keenan Perez. You're listening to their rehearsal ahead of tonight's screening of Oscar Micheaux's 1920 silent film, Within Our Gates. They're providing live music to accompany the film. The score is a modern continuation of a silent film staple.
One should never watch a silent film without a musical score. And silent film was never silent.
That's Jeff Hinkleman, the director of the film program at Carnegie Mellon University and chair of the Oscar Micheaux Society. Here's Paducah Film Society chair Derek Oberle, one of the organizers of the screening at Paducah's Maiden Alley Cinema.
With music, it can help bring scenes to life. It can really help animate. It can bring horror to something. It can bring joy. It can bring love.
The new soundtrack is an act of interpretation for a film that only exists today through interpretation. The oldest surviving film from a Black American director, playing just across the river from his hometown. The story of a screening more than 100 years in the making. I'm Bryce Patterson. You're listening to the Crossroads Suncast. The version of Within Our Gates that you can see today is a reconstruction. The original print was lost. The intertitles, those little pieces of text used to convey dialogue and plot elements in silent films, are actually taken from a Spanish language version of the film. That reconstruction in the 1990s used diction, slang, and syntax drawn from other novels and film by writer, director, producer Oscar Micheaux. Similarly, the surviving catalog of Micheaux's work is patchy. All but 3 of Micheaux's silent films are lost. That's not uncommon. According to the Library of Congress, between 70 and 75% of all film from the silent era is lost. In part, that goes back to the attitudes of the time.
Film is a commodity. It's not an art. So when we make something, it's content. It plays in theaters. We hope to make our money back. But what are we going to do with it after that? It's not like there's a home video market, so there's no market for it otherwise.
Sometimes film is lost as a result of the technology available.
Film is on nitrate cellulose stock, which is extremely flammable. It burns underwater. You can't put it out. And so there are huge fires in a number of instances that completely destroy entire film libraries. In some cases, studios say, why are we holding this stuff? Let's get rid of it. And they just junk things, which from an insurance perspective, from sort of a corporate mindset perspective, might make sense. Though now for us, sort of artistically, that means we're missing 70% of our cultural history.
When it comes to African American film heritage, the situation is even worse. Because those filmmakers were usually working on shoestring budgets, fewer prints were made. The number of venues showing those films was also much more limited. So who was Oscar Micheaux? He was born in the wake of the Reconstruction era in Metropolis, Illinois, in 1884, 19 years after the end of the Civil War. His father was born into slavery in Kentucky. As a young man, Micheaux moved to Chicago, later living in Sioux City, Iowa, and South Dakota.
He was apparently a pretty successful farmer, but there was a drought that sort of wiped him out. After the drought, he took up writing and became a novelist. And one of the things that we know about, some of the things we know about him are from his first novel, The Conquest, which is sort of a thinly veiled autobiography.
In many ways, Within Our Gates was a reaction to the world around him. After the release of Birth of a Nation in 1915, there was a move to build up the black filmmaking industry. In part, the film is reacting to the brutality of that era. In 1917, rioting by a white mob in East St. Louis destroyed the homes of 6,000 African American citizens. Upon its release in 1920, Within Our Gates followed the Red Summer of 1919. That period was marked by 26 race riots across the United States. In Chicago, violence left 1,000 black families homeless. Membership in the Ku Klux Klan was growing at the time, and the number of lynchings nationwide increased between 1918 and 1919 as black soldiers returned home from World War I. A year after the release of Within Our Gates, a white mob in Tulsa, Oklahoma would kill as many as 300 people, most of them black. Formerly one of the most prosperous African American communities in the nation, the Tulsa Massacre left 35 city blocks in, quote, charred ruins. The film depicts a lynching and an attempted sexual assault. It was banned in multiple cities upon its release.
These things are seen as incendiary, and we can't put them on the screen because it will upset people. And so that's sometimes one of the reasons given is, oh, we can't do that because people will riot.
Micheaux's legacy has only recently gained broader acknowledgement in his hometown. In 2023, a historical marker went up in Metropolis, honoring Micheaux and other figures from Black history with roots in the area. Reverend Orlando McReynolds of the First Missionary Baptist Church in Metropolis played a major role in bringing attention to the city's connection to one of the most important figures in Black film. Here's Reverend McReynolds back in 2023.
We put this year as a landmark so that all can see the truth of what has been contributed to African American history and what has been contributed by those from right here in Metropolis.
He's introducing the film at tonight's screening. Musicians Clifton Davis and Keenan Perez say they feel the legacy of the film they're scoring.
It's a great honor to me. You asked earlier, was it intimidating? A little bit, but at the same time, that intimidation comes with a lot of honor to be tasked with putting music to something this important. To me, that's iconic. It makes me musically try to measure up and try to be worthy of such a task.
Oscar Micheaux's career stretched across nearly 30 years of film history. His last film, The Betrayal, was released in 1948. Like so much of his work, that film is also lost. If you're listening to this episode on the day of its release, you can still catch the screening at Maiden Alley Cinema in Paducah tonight at 7 o'clock. If you'd like to explore his catalog, many of Micheaux's films are easily available as part of the public domain. But since the soundtracks often have different rights than the films themselves, versions on YouTube and elsewhere may not include music. A complete collection of Micheaux's surviving works released on Blu-ray last week. Reporting for this episode by Mason Watkins, Tara Temple, and me, Bryce Patterson. Thank you for listening.